Good morning, everybody. Very pleased to moderate this first panel on delivery. I'd like to maybe just get started with Ulugbek. Last year there was a survey in the region which showed that for the first time online shoppers placed convenience as the primary driver for online shopping before price. Do you think that means that the consumers in the UAE at least are now accepting the idea that you need to actually pay for delivery? You know, we've had a lot of free of charge for a number of years, and do you think the consumer are ready now to pay for delivery?
So first of all, good morning for everyone. So as a consumer, I think so that they have got the multiple challenges, right? What I'm purchasing, what is the amount of it, what is the basket size, right? And how much I need to pay for it. If I want to buy a grocery for 40 dirham, I don't want to pay anything because I believe that if somebody tried to charge me like on top of it like 10 dirham or 20 dirham, so it will become invaluable. I can just walk into any supermarket and buy for it, right? But if I'm buying, let's say, the mobile phone or iPhone for $1,000, then probably I don't shame to pay another 20 dirham on top of it, right? Because that's a convenience. All about what are you purchasing? But I believe that the consumer is mentally, when he is going to online stores, here in UAE especially, they are somehow, they are now convinced to not pay for it. And their behavior is changing. Previously, when we were starting the business back in 2013, 14, 15, the consumers were ready to pay for it, for that service, and they were coming up with a kind of, you know, even we were charging 25 dirham that time. I remember the consumers, and they were paying without any problem. But today, if you try to charge them the 9 dirham or 10 dirham, so they're simply leaving the checkout. So that's how consumer behavior changes throughout the time.
So you mentioned grocery, which is a very interesting one. Many grocers in the region are refraining to fully embrace omni-channel because of this specific fact that last mile specifically costs so much, and how they're going to make up. Is the consumer going to accept this? So some have already taken the plunge, others are hesitating. What could make them, what solutions could they actually find to make it worth it, basically, and not miss that train simply because of last mile expense?
Again, I think so that today is ecosystem itself is growing very well, if you see, right? There is a lot of startups are coming up into the market, and they're trying to solve this problem, because how to deliver to the different boxes, different location. We have seen the companies are coming up, right, where you can pick up on your convenience time. So that's, I think, so the better solutions. And as the ecosystem will keep growing it, and I believe that this problem will disappear itself. But as it will disappear 100%, I don't believe it will disappear, right? Because there is still we require the policymakers support on solving certain regulation kind of challenges, which is, I'm sure, the last mile companies are facing, and as well as that require the more startups to be more creative. So how to overcome the challenges of delivering on time to consumer, or the convenience time that consumer can pick up from the location.
Okay. So we'll probably touch on that with Tom later on how startups and technology can help address these kind of issues. Maybe Sarah, moving on to you. You work with Fetcher, right?
We do indeed, yes. They're one of our delivery partners.
So is it fair to say that delivery makes or breaks the experience for an online shopper? Because that's the last thing, actually, you know, in the customer journey.
Yeah, completely. You know, I think that it's one of a number of very, very important factors. You know, how easy it is to place the, you know, you've first got to get the customer to your website, then you've got to get that customer to buy from you. So, you know, once they've actually chosen to buy from you, you know, the only thing left is making sure that that product is quality when you deliver it, and also making sure that you can get it to the customer easily. You know, the customer isn't too worried whether you're delivering it via Aramex or via Fetcher, or you know, you're delivering it by your own in-house fleet. All they care is that it's a kind of seamless seamless delivery experience. And also I think one of the main things, and especially the main things in this region, is that a customer isn't overpromised and under-delivered. There's a number of different portals out here that deliver in 10 days and 15 days, which may actually be fine. But I think one of the most frustrating things that we find from our customers, or the feedback that they give, is when you're saying I'm going to deliver next day or same day or even in 4 days time, and then it comes on day 5. And that's definitely a kind of bugbear for me personally whenever I'm ordering from e-commerce in the region. So I think that yes, the delivery partner you use has to be, and you have to kind of represent it as an extension of yourself, and definitely not pass blame should they fail, but make sure that you've got all of the different practices in place to be able to track those shipments, make sure you're kind of fully integrated with them, so that you can give that customer updates throughout, and hopefully build in a little bit of time should they go wrong as well, so that you're not under delivering to that customer.
So we often get that question from newcomers into e-commerce, whether they should outsource or insource delivery to be able to guarantee the quality of service all the way, basically, and not be dependent on whether the courier is going to meet the timelines, or there will be a smile at the point of delivery. So how hard of a decision was it in the case of Spree?
Yeah, so I mean, we are a pure technology platform. We have nothing on our balance sheet. We have no inventory. We have no assets. So for us, it's definitely not going to be one of the first things that we do, which is buying physical in-house fleet and bringing that in-house. I also think that you need to be at a certain scale for the unit economics to make sense for you to have your own in-house fleet. You're buying cars or leasing them. You have more staff on your payroll. You have insurance costs of those cars on your payroll. You have a lot of extra costs, and there definitely becomes a kind of breaking point where it becomes much more valuable to have it in-house, which obviously can, dramatically, if you get it right, improve the customer experience. If you're going to try and remain a business that's agile like ours, we're doing a lot of, very innovative tie-ups with not just your kind of standard delivery partners, but also new ones that are coming to the region, which allow you to deliver in kind of 1 to 4 hours. That we can deliver, we can use, based on how people pay, or based on, what type of products or how large those products are by car, etc. So we're trying to be as innovative as we possibly can without taking that kind of full in-house cost to actually launch our own fleet, which is, getting to the point now where the unit economics start to make sense of doing so.
And coming back to you, Ulugbek, you've insourced, you handle your delivery yourself. Have you done that from the very beginning, or there was a tipping point where we decided to insource?
Because of, again, I told you, right? When we started the time back in 2013, the time was the ecosystem itself was not developed. Infrastructure was a bit weak, and the prices were so expensive that you need to go and think about it. The time, like let's say the average time was offered by courier companies or the last mile companies was 7 to 10 working days to deliver the item. So I believe that this is too much, right? But in Dubai to deliver 7 to 10 working days, I mean, nobody will buy it from me. So this is we can say the situation is enforced, right? But today, if I will start the same company in Dubai, I think it doesn't make sense to build me any ecosystem or the infrastructure kind of last mile delivery or logistics. I need to more concentrate where I'm strong, and I believe that the right move will be if the consumer will start. The businessman will start thinking about that more about his technology, how to take care of his sales, acquiring customers, instead of thinking like how to deliver this item, right? Today we have got a lot of startups, a lot of companies who are delivering this on time and with a very, very competitive price.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Now maybe move on to the brick and mortar of the world. Obviously, that gives you, from a fulfillment perspective, an edge versus our friends of pure player world here. So Landmark has been selling online since what, 2011, about?
4 years, last 4 years.
4 years. And I believe you moved on from your centralized portal last year onto branded, basically, websites, and you introduced click and collect in the process, okay? So I'm going to say that in a very friendly way. What took you so long?
Can you come again on that?
What took you so long? Why did you wait until last year to implement click and collect? Was it not a need for this service from a customer perspective, and also from a cost optimization point of view, there was no rush, or was there another reason for you to have waited so long?
Yeah, so I think it was kind of inevitable for us to have one of the basic and most fundamental omni-channel initiative, click and collect. It definitely took a little more time than what was expected because of multiple pilots which we were doing internally in a beta version. Because the idea of enterprise stock visibility has been the most important concern for us, because there are two ways of doing click and collect, right? For an omni-channel player, so what we got is we got inventory in our warehouses and we got inventory in our stores. So the best idea for us to have click and collect, the ideal scenario would be to have a priority on the store stock, on the store inventory, and then if we are somehow not able to fulfill from the store, maybe we have a backfill mechanism coming from the warehouse. So that's where it is taking a lot of time for us to actually launch click and collect. But then it's been close to a year now since we've launched it, and we rolled out to over 700 stores across UAE and Saudi. And today I think click and collect is coming close to a quarter of our online sales. I think that in itself says a lot. And I think the beauty of click and collect more than anything else is the entire windfall sales effect which you get out of it, because it's the increase in footfall in your store, the customers who are coming there to collect your shipments, and then the chances of those guys coming over and spending more money in the store actually makes a lot of difference. And it's kind of a booster for people who are working in online as well as offline within the Landmark group. It kind of incentivizes everybody, so that's where the bigger picture is for us.
So you've really done it properly. You've reviewed the commission plans. You have enabled a culture that in-store embraces online and welcome customers coming in, don't see that as a threat.
So to be really honest, that was our biggest concern initially, because in any of the traditional retail conglomerate, every time you talk about online, it kind of puts in some fear in terms of how the online can probably cannibalize on offline sales. So that's a fight you gotta fight very diligently and carefully. But then the good part for us is, from a leadership standpoint, it was very clear that omni-channel is the future, right? You got to change as per the customer behavior. You can't run the way you want it. You have to really understand what the customer needs. And from the other side of we have actually made sure that our store staff is rather incentivized even for e-commerce sales. We have built in certain logics wherein we can map the delivery locations of the online customers to the nearest store. That way we have further been incentivizing our store staff, which ensures that the store staff doesn't get that fear and rather pushes the customers to go for online sale if they can't find the right product in their particular store.
Okay, very good, thank you. So Sarah, omnichannel is the future. Can we expect to see Spree stores or corners, store-in-stores in the future? Is it something you're considering?
It's definitely not on our roadmap at the moment, and we have been approached for a few interesting conversations that would potentially make us physical. I think for us it's definitely about country expansion online. You know, our model is very, very similar to that of Farfetch. You know, whereby we are a technology platform, you know, opening up the Middle East region to global brands, which is a really exciting initiative that we're launching this year called Spree Global. So for us, it's, you know, very much staying online at the moment. I can never say never to anything. I've been caught out on that one before. But for now, definitely staying online is the key, and staying very asset light,
okay.
Should I say.
Understood. Tom, delivery as a relational tool, what opportunities do you see? How could brands, retailers, pure players leverage delivery to get closer to the customer, to satisfy, to know them better?
Yeah, that's interesting. Worth pointing out that we sort of we come at this from a slightly different perspective, not as an e-commerce retailer or logistics platform ourselves, but focusing much more on the infrastructure that helps both on the customer experience side, so during that checkout experience, and then on the operational efficiency for the carriers. But on the point of using that as a relational tool, there's basically, we see it as one of the 3 or 4 main pillars that you have for differentiation. So whether that's I mean, obviously you can compete on cost, you can compete on customer service, and you can compete on delivery proposition. Within that delivery proposition, if you can't confidently talk about exactly where you want your parcel and you want your package delivered, and you can't have that validated, that leads to what we talk about as sort of that post-checkout delivery anxiety. There's this gulf of, or sort of chasm of confidence, which is that little sort of moment of doubt just after you've clicked add to basket checkout and submitted your payment details, where you're thinking, is it going to, as Sarah said, is it going to arrive in that promised two-day period? Are they going to find me? Am I going to be called at work for people to ask me to share my location on WhatsApp or whatever it may be? And there were some interesting parallels with other things that came along in the evolution of the industry. So I remember especially in European markets, when sort of 10 years ago, when when online payments were much newer, and there was always that anxiety over whether you were going to have your credit card details stolen, or whether it would bounce somewhere at the back end. And then you had guys like PayPal came along, and that was really a sort of a stamp of confidence. And you could just go, okay, you know what? I know these guys. They're integrated. They're integrated with this retailer. That takes away that anxiety. And then on the shipping side, you see it a lot with either things like when you have that big fat Amazon Prime sticker, or with Souk and Noon and these guys, when you have fulfilled by Souk in-house, it's just that other, it's that relief. And that's what we're trying to do with addresses, is that when you put in your address, instead of just having a free text field and giving a landmark and a phone number, you can actually give something that is validated in the moment, and where people go, okay, these guys know where I am.
Thanks. We'll come back to Amazon Prime in a minute. This is an interesting one. Maybe we want to open the floor to any question that you may have for the panel. On delivery, last mile. No? So don't hesitate, just raise your one question. Okay, can we get a mic maybe for anyone from floor? Can we get a mic for the gentleman over there? We'll get you one. We'll get you one. So meanwhile, Prime. Amazon will start operating under its own name very soon. When they started in Australia, I don't think they started with Prime, but it's meant to happen, right? Is Prime the ultimate weapon to manage your cost base when it comes to delivery, and how do you fight with an Amazon without a subscription, a membership program? Anyone?
I think it works very well in the US. Why? Because they offer very short time, 2-hour delivery in some states and in some cities, and 2-day delivery in some other kind of states, right? So that works well, right? But in UAE, there is all companies here, they start offering free delivery, 12 to 24-hour delivery timing, right? Within 12 to 24 hours. So I will offer the Prime for the purpose of what? I mean, I want to come up and saying that, hey, you know what, now pay for it. I mean, you can get that free. We know that the Prime doesn't work out in Southeast Asia, because because all the players are offering the same service for free. And we don't know how it will show up here, because, and I believe that the Prime, which logic was created in US, it was bracketed here by local companies by just offering that service for free, right? Today we offer for free, free delivery, 12 to 24 hours delivery timing, right? There is a companies who are offering 2 hours delivery timing with a free delivery. So competing with this and asking someone to pay for the service, I think so it can be a little bit kind of a question mark.
Interesting. Sarah, do you share that view? That Prime, depending on market, might not actually be the solution, and there's a question mark for this one specifically?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. I think, the nuance in this market is cash on delivery anyway, so it's, how does Prime work for that? They've still got to get it to the customer. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it's rolled out. there are, I think, also certain verticals out where people, want their products instantly and want it same day, and also there's a number of verticals out where people are very, very, very happy to wait for it. We've seen, on Spree, and hence our kind of launch of Spree Global, which is, if you're looking for that stroller, you're probably, 5-6 months pregnant, and buying that product, and actually it's much more about which stroller it is. It's the exact one that you're looking for, and you're actually very happy to wait potentially 3 weeks for this product to be delivered, as long as it's kind of, the price you're getting is the best price globally, and also that it's delivered, and, as an authentic product, etc., and it's the exact model that you want, rather than actually needing that to be delivered 6 hours later. So I think that for a number of different verticals, it is very important to have this kind of instant delivery, but I also think there's a number of verticals out there where people are actually much more focused on, the product and, rather than actually having it today, so to speak.
Okay, very good, very interesting. So maybe we can get a mic.
Hi. I'm Tariq Turkestani. I'm a co-founder at Casper. We deliver last mile delivery in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah. So it seems that here you have two of the most important challenges that as a last mile delivery people will face. One is location, and the second is the client. So we need the clients to send us stuff. But the third thing, maybe you just touched upon it, Sarah, was the cash on delivery. So we also struggle in collecting the cash, especially when we have large volumes of shipments and with expensive price tag. So what can we do to resolve that issue? Or what are the things that we should do better? Maybe in Mada, in Saudi, they soon will start having the ATMs card to operate within the app itself instead of having a point-of-sale device. What other suggestions do you have for COD, for last-mile delivery to succeed?
Right, hi. So now this is a very valid concern, especially when you talk about Saudi, cash on delivery is pretty prevalent. So internally, with higher the cash on delivery, you can expect higher returns because you never know if those are genuine customers, even after all your verifications and stuff, and that can be quite an expensive cost for the company in the reverse logistics. So what we internally are trying to do is, we know for a fact that we can't make it zero. There will be cash on delivery. So it's all about how do we incentivize our credit card customers, our prepaid customers, what additional things we can do for our customers to start paying upfront. Maybe because we've got one of the biggest loyalty programs in the Middle East, Shukran. So we're seeing how we can leverage on that, give more additional loyalty points, or maybe some kind of discounting. So we are figuring out ways in how we can incentivize and up our entire prepaid customers over cash on delivery. Apart from that, even partnering with partners in the last mile delivery where we can have card on delivery, swipe on delivery, those kind of measures. Because at the end of the day, probably there are these bunch of customers who are all right once they receive the shipment, then they don't mind paying it via a card. So it's all about exploring those kind of things. I'm not too sure if even it's a right decision to in fact start thinking about how I can get rid of cash on delivery, but rather how you can create an environment where the customers feel safe and would like to do an upfront payment, which will only make a win-win scenario for both business as well as customers.
Okay. Thank you for that. There's an additional question here. Maybe you can pass over the mic. It's coming. And a couple of questions, if we could hurry with the mic so we can speak with everybody.
Unfortunately, we can only take one more question. I'm so sorry, and the lady over here had the first question.
Thank you. A pleasure to have you guys here. So I'm developing a platform. I'm a startup based here in Dubai. My platform is an online registry space where you can add items from any online and any offline stores. So my question to you is, because I will obviously not be stocking any items and I will not be handling deliveries. My question to you is, what are your tolerances, preferences for someone like me, like a startup like me, to come and approach you guys to be able to basically have a win-win kind of partnerships?
Didn't understand the question. What are you doing? You are registering?
No, yes, it's a registry platform. So for example, if somebody's expecting a baby, they can put an item from Spree.com, from Amazon.com. If somebody wants a crib, for example, they would put one from Landmark products. So one gift registry, adding any item from online and offline stores, instead of creating different vertical registries. Because obviously, for example, Spree.com offers a great variety, but it's not everything that's out there. And furniture and other elements for whatever occasion they cannot cater to. So my platform basically is an intermediary between you, excuse me, the retailers and the users or the customers. I basically help them organize what they need and help others know what are the items they'd like to buy for them. So I won't be handling any shipping. I won't be handling any stocks. My question to you is, does this kind of intimidate, does this intrigue you as a problem in terms of doing partnerships with you and having deliveries and such, dealing with users that are on my end? Or is this something that you are comfortable being a part of?
I think so that you want to say that you are aggregator, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's simple as it is, because the aggregators are, it's kind of sharing the consumer between the platforms, basically, right?
Correct.
So I believe this is all is a loyalty simple program, which is affiliate, we call it, right?
Yeah.
The through affiliate program, you can reach now any company in reality, so you don't need to ask from us that service. So you can simply come and register to affiliate, and you can be affiliate for the service. But in reality, let's say the direct connection, that probably it won't happen, because every business tries to secure his own consumer, and within his platform, he's trying to serve, right? I don't think so that I will be happy to share my customer base with any other company for the purpose of just making sure that the consumer can purchase from me and from him, where sometimes the SKUs are overlapping, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't want to leave a customer for someone benefit.
Okay, so you frown upon this kind of partnership?
Yeah, of course. Through affiliate program will be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I understand. So you don't see this as an opportunity, for example, for potentially losing a user to create a registry or come and register items?
But not in my website, right? Not in my website.
No,
so
not
you can create your own aggregator, and you
Absolutely.
can have it your own users and target them for a different SKUs from different websites. That's
Absolutely.
how you need to work.
Unfortunately, time is up.
Thank you.
So apologies for that. Thank you very much, Hugo, for your question. We have a couple of questions that we suggest we actually take on the side. So please do come and meet us now, so we can, with the panel, continue this over the next few minutes. Thank you very much to all our panelists. It was a pleasure. I think we can give a good round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you.